My name is Paul Emerson, and I will be giving you my 2 cents. Ethnicity is definitely important, and nationality is definitely important. There are 7 continents on this planet. Technically, there's only 3. There's Eurasia, Africa, Australia, and the Arctic. I don't really consider the Arctic because humans naturally don't live on the Arctic. But these are the basic continents of the United States. Europe is actually a continent on the continent of Eurasia. It is not even its own landmass. It is a physical aspect of what I would technically consider North Africa. The whole Eurasian continent is the upper part of what we define as the African continent. The African continent is like, I think, the second largest mass on the planet, and Eurasia is the first largest mass on the planet, with North and South America technically being one giant mass. We've been so brainwashed in the world by the way that politics handle ethnicity and nationality and groups of people on this planet that the average American doesn't even consider South America part of the American continent. We only think in terms of... My car is losing power. It's time for a new car. Yep, it's not working. It just died on me. Park. Hold on, let me finish my rant. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna go. It's that time, but I can't afford to fix it. So, we only think about the nationalities and the ethnicities of planets. We only think about the nationality and the ethnicities of people based on what we're taught, right? And we've allowed ourselves to be tricked into thinking in the duality of white people versus black people, Caucasians versus non-Caucasians, all Europeans versus all non-Europeans, right? And we've gotten comfortable with this idea that defining the African people as if they are black people is okay, and it's a very dangerous move to make, because the term black as it applies to African Americans is meant to define something very specific. The reason why African Americans define themselves as black is because we look like people that lived in Africa, and we have the history of the transatlantic slave trade. Let me order my food and I'll continue. One second.
Welcome to Burger King. Will you open? You give me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for waiting. What can I get for you?
Fully loaded croissant sandwich meal.
Fully loaded croissant?
Yeah, large hash brown, medium Coke, please.
And a medium Coke?
Yep.
Anything else?
That's everything.
Okay, 10 to 6 people.
So as I was saying, the we're thinking when it comes to African Americans, the transatlantic slave trade implied that Europeans were exporting Africans from the continent of Africa and exporting them all over the planet to use as chattel slaves, and they were treated in America as and they were treated in Africa. They were treated in America as if they were subhuman. That's the biggest difference between what happened across the globe versus what happened to African Americans. African Americans, under the oppression of the European colonies, were the only group that was treated as not human.
Medium Coke, right?
Yes. Do you have a strawberry? You have strawberry jam?
Strawberry Coke?
The jam, strawberry jam. Do you have packs of strawberry jam?
Okay. But you want Coke for a drink, right?
Correct.
Okay, sorry.
No problem.
We only peach. I mean, bread.
Grape.
Grape.
Okay. Grape is fine. May I also have a straw? Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day. I'm angry because I speak English, right? Like, you have a job to do. I speak English. I come here all the time. I'm asking for the same thing every day. And instead of people listening to me, they look at me and they don't did I ask for you? I'm recording this video. I clearly said, do you have strawberry jam, right? And she's looking at me like, what? And it's like, you work here. This is not the first time I've asked you this question. Why don't you understand what I'm saying? And then it's like, do you want strawberry Coke? It's like, did I ask for strawberry Coke or did I ask for strawberry jam? Because the racism is so bad that when they see my face, they automatically assume that they can't understand what I'm saying. And that's the conflict. Yeah, and that's the conflict. So that's why so angry. Like, that's why so angry. Because you clearly heard exactly what I said to her. And when you have to deal with that every day, all the time, it gets irritating. I speak English. I live in America. I speak English. I don't speak Ebonics. I'm not saying anything weird. I'm asking for things that are clear and concise. But because you have the need to want to look at me like I'm the problem because of my skin complexion, you don't want to register what I'm saying because I shouldn't be speaking clearly. But you should be able to understand what I'm saying. Like, that's the reason why I speak clearly, right? But I digress. Like, I digress. When it comes to the African Americans being treated as chattel property and having our history and our culture removed from us, we define ourselves as black because we don't know which of the 51 or so, I don't know exactly what the number is, but when you look at a map and you see all of the lines on the continent of Africa, those are not cities, those are countries. They are countries. They are regions of Africa bigger than Texas that are actual nations with sovereign kings and native rulers and leaderships and government. They are city states with cities and provinces and countries and governments and democracies and all types of other governing bodies that govern those groups of people divided by their national boundaries. So there's 50 something countries in Africa, and each one recognizes their own sovereignty and they have their own rules and regulations that they govern themselves by. They all are they are nationalities, so they have very specific genetics to each region that is governed by a very central government, right? So it is hard for me to say as an African American that I am Nigerian or I am from Ghana or I am from Kenya, right? Because I don't know what my history is. Now in modern times we could do DNA tests to define who we are, But in the past, when that wasn't possible, we didn't know. All we could say is, based on my hair texture and my skin color, I kind of look like the people that dominantly are in this region of the earth, right? So that's the reason why we defined ourselves as African Americans. Technically, during the civil rights movement, we were actually defined as Negroes. And a lot of people take offense to that because Negro means black as a color. But if you think about it, every culture, right, human cultures used to call the Africans Negro in their own language, right? And it wasn't black, it was Negro. Because the thing that's weird is the word in English for black means pigment, black, right? But the word Negro in language means people of dark skin complexion. It translates to the word Negro actually translates to people more than the term black does. And that's the thing that's weird. Like the idea of Negro and Negroid in our language, like linguistic, what I'm trying to communicate is, if you actually take the time out to study other languages, the word Negro with the N in it translates to African for most cultures around the world. That's the reason why they changed the word to nigger, to reduce us to not human beings, right? Like that's why they did that. That was the whole point of reducing us below what was already had been established for who we are. Just like the one word Nigra, no, not Nigra, Nagra or Naga or something like that. It's a term that translates into like God. Like it was always, that energy was always there. So we define ourselves in America as black because we don't know in quotations concisely who our ancestors are. That's the reason why we say it, right? And with modern technology and modern genetics, we can actually do DNA testing to find out some evidence. You can believe it or you can trust it or not trust it, but on some level we can find out what our genetic lineage is, right? But every time you say black and you apply it to the African, you reduce the Africans to the African American. I don't know what my history is, because when my ancestors were taken from Africa, they were brought to America, and then they were told that they didn't have ethnicity, nationality, and culture, right? The Africans have their history. They have their history, they have their nationality, they have their lands. They are the original indigenous people of the planet. Why do you say African and then switch from African to black for the African? Why? Why do we do that? Why do we say Nigerians are black? Why do we always have to make the linguistic switch from this group of people to black when we want to talk about how bad life is and how they're oppressed and they're downtrodden and they're on the bottom? Why do we have to do that? Because every time we take the time to translate the African people, which are the parents of the whole planet, and switch them from black to white, it's like looking at parents and then changing the role of the children to the adults, right? That's not how life works. The kids don't get to be the parents, right? Africa has no beginning, but Africa has history. That's the reason why the pyramids are on the physical continent of Africa. They can tell you that it's the Middle East, but if you look at the planet and look at the physical layout of everything, you can clearly see that Egypt is in Africa, separated from the Middle East by a large body of water, which means that the cultural exchange between the Middle East and the Africans couldn't have happened the way that they quote unquote want you to understand that it happened, because there's a big giant water landmass in between the Middle East and the eastern part of Africa, right? The African continent has Egypt in it, and Egypt is where the pyramids are, and that is what is used to justify the entire history of Christianity, even though Europeans are all the way on the other side of the curve of the earth in Europe on the Eurasian continent. But we don't take the time out to look at the linguistics of it. We just listen to the words and we're okay with substituting the word Africa for black. The history of the Africans, because you can't speak African, you can't know their history. But the Africans talk about their history. The Africans communicate their history, their lineage, their ancestry. They have all of that. When we were running around America for 300 years, the Africans have the history of the Europeans coming into their country, taking African slaves. Nigeria has a really hard problem right now in the present with what? Human trafficking. Why? Because Nigeria was a port that they exported Africans through to move them across the world during the transatlantic slave trade. Everybody wants to argue about what the Africans did or didn't do, but if you're trying to make money and someone is coming to your land and buying people, and you can export people for money and everything else is cut off for you because these same foreigners has all of the resources locked up, and you still need to eat, and they have guns and you don't, then you build this entire culture for more than 300 years of exporting people for profit. And then one day they say, we don't want to buy people from you anymore. Well, what do you think happens to those generations of people that have gotten conditioned to the idea that I can sell people that are not me because I'm Nigerian, and I can go out into the other parts of the African continent and sell non-Nigerians through my country to people? What do you think happens? Well, we don't want to deal with we don't want to deal with or address the legacy of European creating the transatlantic slave. We want to argue the point about the Africans. We want to constantly argue the point about the quote-unquote black people, right? But you have all of this stuff happening in the world every day. When you look out your window at the world as it is right here, right now, the people that are in charge are Caucasians and Europeans. But every time something's not the way that you want it to be, they say black people are the problem. But you, as an indigenous person on your land, don't have access to the rights to be prosperous on your own land because you fall into the ideology of white people while not holding them accountable for their bullshit. Europe is 100% responsible for the current state of the world. America is 100% responsible for everything that happened after the Civil War. But slavery is inherently the responsibility of Europe. That bullshit is Europe bullshit. When America was trying to fix shit, they inherited Europe's bullshit and then tried to fix it. But they want to play the white ideology card. They want to sit around and be white and think that it's okay to just fuck over the rest of the planet instead of just being human beings. They want to, like, what is the fucking point? What is the point? What are we gaining from it? What are we gaining from all of this unnecessary chaos in 2026? Well, all we have to do is just put that shit down and then start doing something different. All we have to do is start doing something. Like, imagine if the president just got up. Imagine if a president ran the country in America for 4 years and wasn't fucking racist. Like, can we just try that for 4 years? You just don't get on the TV screen and talk about non-whites in a negative way and actually address the issue of the Aryan Nation that you guys the federal government just hired the Ku Klux Klan as ICE, and nobody sees the connection. Who's qualified to do ICE's job in America? Who's qualified? What individual in America would sign up for that role? There's only one group in America that would do that. The terrorist organization, the Ku Klux Klan, are the only ones that is going down to ICE and volunteering and getting a paycheck. And all of the minorities that are working in ICE, you're like, well, there's minorities working in ICE too, because they need to eat. They can't get a regular job, so they need to go work for ICE. Because you still have to eat food. You still have to eat food. You still got to pay your bills. You still got to operate and function in a dysfunctional environment. And we can't do anything to come to a mutual understanding of how we're going to dissolve this BS. So we're stuck. We're just stuck. Like, that's the reality of the current state. So that's why I say, I do need to eat my food. I actually need to get back to work. So that's why I say it's important in 2026 that we stop defining ourselves as black. Define yourself by the continent that you were born on and the ethnicity that you are. 100% of people on this planet are Africans. The original people on this planet are African. And all of the people all over the world are the descendants of the Africans that migrated out of Africa. And no matter what they say or do or try to twist it or spin it, everybody is African. If you don't believe me, do a Google search for the Hindu Indians and the Aborigines Australians. And when you see these dark-skinned people, you need to ask yourself, why are these dark-skinned people not black? Why are the Hindu Indians not treated as black people? Why is Gandhi not part of black society? Why are the Aborigines Indians, why are the San people in Africa not considered black people? The only group of people on this planet that have inherited the title of black people are the African Americans because of the inhumane treatment that was given to us. But everybody else on this planet, we are all brothers and sisters, and we all have the same history. I am more European than I am African American in this country because of all of the rape that took place. So it doesn't make any sense for you to reduce our parent continent, Africa, to the status that I have to pick myself up out of just so that white people can continue to fuck shit up. It doesn't make any sense. There's nothing to gain to be in allegiance with racist white people. There's no, like, I get that there's struggle, I get that there's strife, I get that there's adversity, I get that there's an understanding that needs to happen, but there is zero quarter for racist white people. We give them no fucks. There's no reason to be entertaining their energy. There's no reason to, not in 2026, right? So think about it. Like, I could rant for forever, but I gotta smash this food and go back to work. So as always, my name is Paul Emerson. I'll give you my 2 cents. Find out your history, your ancestry. Everybody on this planet are actually Africans, and white people don't fucking exist, and they don't have any authority over the world. The only authority they have is the authority we give to them by being incomplacent and being in compliance to injustice. Don't do it. I have to screenshot my videos so that I can go back over the comments later.